It is 2 in the morning. You are warm, comfortable, finally drifting off. And then, out of nowhere, your brain leans in and whispers, "Remember that idiotic thing you said 7 years ago?" Instantly, you are wide awake, cringing so hard you physically curl up, reliving a moment that absolutely nobody else on the planet remembers. Why does your mind do this? Why does it reach for your most humiliating memories in crisp detail at the worst possible hour and almost never the good ones? You are not broken, and you are certainly not alone. This is your brain working exactly as it was designed to. The trouble is that it is a little too good at the job. Once you understand what it is actually trying to do, that 2 a.m. ambush starts to lose its grip on you. Start with the strangest piece of the puzzle. Out of a whole lifetime of moments, why does your brain keep grabbing the embarrassing ones? Blame a deep, ancient setting called the negativity bias. Your mind is simply built to hold on to bad experiences far more tightly than good ones. 100 pleasant afternoons melt into one warm blur, while the single time you tripped in front of everyone gets saved in high definition, queued up and ready to replay on demand. This is not a glitch. For your distant ancestors, remembering a threat mattered enormously more than remembering a nice meal. The brain that vividly recalled danger was the brain that lived long enough to pass itself on. So yours treats a painful memory as valuable information, and it flatly refuses to delete it. A second force makes it worse. Strong emotion works like a highlighter dragged across a memory. When your heart pounds with a jolt of adrenaline, whether from fear or from pure embarrassment, a small structure deep in your brain reads that surge as a signal that this moment matters, and it locks the memory in far harder than usual. A calm, forgettable Tuesday gets a faint pencil note. A face-burning humiliation gets underlined in permanent ink. The very shame that makes the memory so unpleasant is the same thing welding it into place. Now, why embarrassing memories in particular? Why does a social cringe sting so much harder than stubbing your toe? To understand that, picture the world your brain was actually built for. For almost the entire span of human history, you survived only as part of a group. Being liked, accepted, and included was not a pleasant bonus. It was the difference between living and dying. A person cast out of the tribe, alone in the wild, did not tend to last very long. So your brain learned to guard your social standing with everything it had. To that old wiring, an awkward moment is not a trivial slip. It registers as a real threat to your place in the group. And threats get flagged, stored, and reviewed again and again. Here is just how deep that runs. When scientists slid people into a brain scanner and deliberately made them feel left out of a simple game, something striking appeared. Social rejection lit up some of the very same brain regions involved in physical pain. To your brain, being excluded and being injured are not nearly as different as they feel from the inside. That is why we grab for the same words, saying a snub left us hurt or stung, or that a memory makes us wince. Your brain is quietly filing that cringe moment in the same drawer as a physical wound, something to keep sharp and close so you never stumble into it a second time. That covers the what and the why. It still does not explain the cruelest detail of all. Why does every bit of this wait until night, the exact moment your head sinks into the pillow? All day your brain barely mentions it. Then the lights go off and it swings open the vault. The culprit is a network in your brain that only truly takes over when you stop paying attention to the outside world. All day long, your focus points outward, at work, at conversations, at your phone, at the road ahead. That steady stream of distraction keeps one particular system quietly switched off. The instant you lie down in a dark, silent room with nothing left to do, the distractions disappear, and that system finally powers up. Scientists call it the default mode network, and it helps to picture it as your brain's screensaver. When nothing else is demanding the screen, it turns your attention inward, toward yourself, your past, and your unfinished business. This same quiet network is where you daydream, rehearse the future, and narrate your own life to yourself. Useful machinery most of the time. Left alone in the dark, though, it drifts almost magnetically toward whatever still feels unresolved. An embarrassing memory feels intensely unfinished, a loose thread your mind keeps tugging at, trying and failing to tidy it away. This is also why simply lying there makes everything worse. That inward replaying has a name. It is called rumination, the loop of turning a painful moment over and over, endlessly hunting for what went wrong. During the day, a rested brain can catch the loop and gently steer away. Late at night, you are exhausted. The part of your mind that normally hits the brakes is worn thin, and the loop just runs free. The later and more tired you get, the harder it becomes to change the channel. That is precisely why 2 a.m. is prime time for old humiliations to come knocking. Now for the relief, and there is real relief here. Start by remembering the whole reason your brain is doing any of this. It is not tormenting you for entertainment. That painful replay is your brain trying to protect you, reviewing what it reads as a social threat so you can learn from it and stay safe among your people. It is care, genuinely. Clumsy, appallingly timed, wildly overprotective care, but care all the same. And then there is the fact that quietly dissolves the whole thing. The moment you are cringing over, almost nobody else remembers it. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect. We wildly overestimate how much other people notice us. In one well-known study, researchers made students walk into a room full of strangers wearing a deeply embarrassing t-shirt. The students were convinced that around half the room had clocked it. The real number who actually noticed was a small fraction of that. Everyone else was far too busy starring in their own private film, fretting over their own late-night memories to be logging yours. The mortifying scene that loops for you slipped out of everyone else's mind almost the instant it happened. So the next time your brain ambushes you in the dark and hands you that moment from years ago, you can meet it with something other than dread. It is not evidence that you are a disaster. It is an old survival alarm going off in a perfectly safe room over something no one else on Earth still remembers. You can quietly thank it for trying, roll over, and let it fade, because it will. That is why you do what you do. This is Mindling.